cross-color overalls. I want to love you like a new pair of Fearless and K-Swiss kicks. I want to love you like Junior Dance 1996, where you and I can rock the same outfit, airbrush t-shirt and oversized flannel. You with the Aquanet hair, the fan above your forehead. Me with the Gumby flat top to lean to the side, taking prom pictures, posing next to a plastic pillar with a castle in the background. I want to love you like the 90s. I want to love you like Jordache backpacks and Trapper Keepers. I want to love you like you love your beeper, Motorola Bravo, clear case with a chain on it. And when it goes off, you'll know it's me because I'm the only one that beats you 1-4-3. Love? Love never needed text messages and cell phones because we both know it ain't love till I'm throwing rocks at your bedroom window. It ain't love until I have the guts to call your house at 11 o'clock at night, hoping your father doesn't pick up because you know you're not supposed to call a house at 11 o'clock at night. But we got a system. Call and hang up after the second ring. And we never had to worry about the battery dying because our phone had a 30-foot cord that we from the kitchen, down the hall, and into your bedroom where we'll talk into the night saying things like, you hang up first. Now you hang up first. Once we both agree to stay on the phone till we both fall asleep, I want to love you like the 90s. Back when we made book covers out of paper bags. Back when we passed notes in class. The ones we used to fold with a little flap that says pull. Back before Facebook turned us into disconnected fools. I don't need a status that says in a relationship. I need a status that says we go together. I don't need you to like my comment. I need you to check like at the end of my letter. And by the way, writing and checking maybe is not an option. Pick a color. Blue, B-L-U-E, you do love me. I want to love you like the 90s. Back when love was as reliable as TGIF on Friday nights. I want to love you like that. Maybe the Kelly to my Zach, the Laura to my Urkel, the Gina to my Martin, the Topanga to my Corey. I want to love you like that. Back when MTV actually played music videos. And when my favorite one played, which at that time was Boyz II Men on Bended Knee, I would run from across the room with a tape recorder and press it up against a television speaker. If you listen to my tapes, most of my songs have my sister's voice in the background and me going, shut up, I'm recording. I want to love you like the 90s. Back before iPods made music too complicated. Love never needed 2,000 songs. It only needed 3 albums. Together Forever by Shy, Heartbreak by New Edition, and the Boomerang soundtrack. I want to love you like a time way back when lyrics could describe exactly how I feel. I want to love you like the 90s. Back when making a playlist meant dubbing you a mixtape. I want to love you like cassette. The kind of love that even when it gets tangled, we just have to stick a pencil into the spool and never get I want to love you like portable Sony CD players. The kind of love that even when it gets scratched, we just have to wipe it on our sleeves because love just needs a little touch to make it move. I want to love you like Nintendo. And for the record, I know Nintendo came out in the 80s, but when you're poor, you never get to own anything the same way it comes out. Mine was hand-me-down and broken. I had to put books on top to keep the cartridge from popping up. But like love, sometimes you just need a little pressure to make it work. Love has never been anything more than a collection of memories. Has always been full of possibilities as the future that lay before us. So I want to love you like the 90s, never wanting to leave it behind, never wanting to grow up. New York, what's So here's the deal, right? I feel like I've been, pretty successful at doing poetry. Been able to make a living off of it, and I've done a lot of things that I wanted. But the one thing in the 8 years I've done poetry, the one thing I've never done is done Nuyo, right? And the reason why is because I always felt really intimidated by this place, right? Like, it's the Nuyorican Poetry Cafe, right? I'm like, okay, I ain't going over there till I'm somewhat ready. And last month, a friend of ours, Will the Real One, was shot at a poetry venue, outside his own poetry venue, and had died. And so I'm like, yo, I gotta get on my bucket list, right? So I called them all. I'm like, listen, when you got a feature? Because I gotta come up and finally do it. And so thank you guys for having me here. And So this poem is for my father. Okay, so we talked about love, so we talked about family a little bit. My dad is a funny dude, right? He's like old school like that. Like he's had the same Nokia cell phone for like forever, right? Y'all remember the phone where you can switch out the faceplates and stuff? And I'm like, Dad, you can't even like text message with this phone. He's like, why do I need to text message you? I just can call you, right? Like that's his mentality. So on so I bought him an iPhone for his birthday, for Father's Day, right? And I go, now you can text message. So I got home, I text messaged him, and I didn't hear from the man for like 24 hours, right? 24 hours, finally rolls around, I get a text message back, he goes, I like it very much, thank you, right? And then my phone rings, and it's my dad, and I'm like, hello? He's like, oh, I'm just calling to make sure the text message went through. You defeat the purpose, and why are we doing this to begin with, right? So I wrote him this poem because he's that dude. So I learned a lot from him, and we went through ups and downs. But this is for him. Have you ever noticed how life is a lot like toilet paper? How it always seems to unravel faster the closer you come to the end of the roll. Smoking cigarettes with my father, this is what he passes down as profound insight the day he turned 58 years old. My father has never been clever with metaphors. He attends a prayer group on Saturdays, goes to church on Sundays, and once a month volunteers to serve communion to the elderly at the local retirement home. If the entrance to heaven was measured by the path we take to reach the pearly gates, God will blow breath on my father's feet to lift him to the sky, while I would have a lot of explaining to do. I spend most days dodging confession booths, while my father serves salvation like 6 o'clock medication to folks who think of communion as the frequent flyer miles we rack up to get to heaven. Some of them have cashed their tickets by the time my father returns. But he returns. If not for them, then for the old man in room 14. For him, my father remains persistent, peers into his room and offers communion as if this time would be different, only to be met each month by a face as distant as the relatives who no longer visits. But for the first time last week, the old man said yes, took the leavened bread from my father's fingers, placed it on his lips where it lingered until that evening. He went to sleep and never woke again, left this world with nothing more than a bedpan that needs cleaning, a 3-piece suit to be buried in, and the one question my father started asking since. What is it about death that makes a man finally come to terms with God? I'm the wrong guy to be asking. There's a part of me that believes death doesn't give you too many chances to escape the light. Might as well smoke your lungs into midnight, drink like the liver deserved to be punished, supersize your value meals, pimp slap an ex-convict, masturbate until your brain explodes from a lack of oxygen. There's 6 million ways to die. Choose one that best fits your personality and run with it. I've been running ever since. Blowing through life as fast as I blow through cigarettes. Tipsy walking on the rim of shot glasses, haphazard and reckless. Eyes wide open, searching for places I'm hoping God will never find me until I see my father. Knees buckled at the pews, hands knuckled at the brow, eyes clenched tight as if redemption revealed itself on the inside of our eyelids, and we're trying to squeeze it out to our tear ducts so the world can see God's glory inside us. My father will never show us tears, but I know, watching how his temples move in prayer, he sometimes curses God for the calloused palms, for the tired fingers, cursing how he can weave them so tight with faith, while God just watches his wife, his children, and his ambitions slip through them. My father, who will feed you with one hand while spanking you into oblivion with the other, who lectures why an A- wasn't good enough, bring home a B and he'll ransack your room searching for drugs, who will brag to his friends about us, who will worry about my living life with such reckless abandon. My father, who after every cigarette break always asks if I could stay even for just a little while, and I find myself always saying no, because I got things to do and places to go, and I watch him disappearing faster from my rear view, distance growing like the skid marks I blaze behind me. You are right, Pop. Life is supersonic, so grab my arm and slow me down like you always have. Remind me not to run too fast. Teach me to look both ways before crossing the street, because the world is out there, blazing by at high speed, and I get lost way too often. And some days I forget to come home, but you should know, these days I'm only reckless on a microphone. I'm looking both ways before making a decision. I'm holding tight before it all unravels with a simple misstep. So please, light up another cigarette. Let the smoke linger a little bit longer. Let it rise to the heavens, and I will ride it like God, blowing breath on my feet. And when I arrive, and they ask me if I've come to terms with my faith enough to come inside, I'll tell them the one thing I know to be true. I'll tell them I came to terms with God the moment I saw God living in you. When I say freedom, you say live. Freedom, live. Freedom, live. When I say people, you say love. People, love. People, love. When I say struggle, you say fight. Struggle, fight. Struggle, fight. All right, what's 1 plus 1? 2. What's the color of grass? Green. What are the 2 letters after A and B? CD. Well, now that y'all bring it up, I do have CDs. They're $10. $10, 2 for 20. So just come hit me up and thank you, math majors. Yeah, so if you want them, I mean, and this is the Nuyorican, again, like I said, so, y'all seen everybody. If you like what I do, we do have CDs. I also have a website, theasiaproject.com, and, we do take credit cards. We gangster like that, so so let's do a little bit of social commentary. Back in September of '09, there was a flood that hit the Philippines, and no one ever really talked about it much. And so I kind of wrote this in the perspective of a young boy who may have died in the flood, because I realized now that me moving to America when I was a kid was a great opportunity for me. But a lot of times people move, they come to America and they forget the people they left behind, right? And so I wrote this kind of for that, to kind of reconnect with your roots and where you come from and the people that may be struggling that need your help. So this is the poem. The day the flood came, I took one final breath, opened my arms and surrendered the levee in my throat. The water came rushing in, spilled into my lungs until the heartstrings snapped and my rib cage busted open to release me. The waves, I can hear them crashing inside my chest. Press me to your ear, you can hear the ocean in my breath. It rolls and swallows, curling around my stomach the way hunger used to. I couldn't fight the hunger then. I couldn't fight this now. Floating face down, I let the waves place me in its mouth and carry me across that salty sea and wash me up on the front steps of your church. Through the window I saw you, pressed my wrinkled fingers against stained glass, watched as you clenched your eyes in prayer, mumbling something about a promotion and unpaid bills. I wonder if you knew that while you were praying to God, we were on the outside looking in, praying to you. I wonder if you knew God isn't the one that performs miracles, people do. You have always been the one. God works our miracles through we, the forgotten, the children of rock bottom and broken concrete, our existence scribbled in dirt and swallowed by the ocean. Do you see us? Do you find our names in the middle of your prayers, washed up by the flood we have come? A sea of faces with sandbags beneath our eyes and water in our lungs. We are pounding our muddy hands against your church, the poverty in our fingerprints smudging every inch of stained glass. Have you noticed how sunlight can't penetrate through and still? You wonder why the windows don't fly. You wonder why the windows don't shine like they used to. You wonder why church pews feel so hard on your knees. The weight of a nation forsaken laying so heavy on your shoulders, breathing down your neck, that for every time you dip your fingers in holy water they genuflect. The reflection staring back are the faces of prayers you have yet to answer. Every time you bow down at the altar, the Eucharist melting on your tongue. Your shadow is the shape of children like me, backbent searching for scraps of food behind restaurants. Did you know? We make our living refrying those scraps and sell them to the people in our village. Did you know we sometimes daydream of eating until the hunger pangs no longer hurt? Did you know God has never counted how many Sundays you spent in church, or how well you kept your sacraments, or how often you've tithed? The communion will always taste dry if on your way inside you ignore our starving eyes, our tattered clothes, our outstretched hands reaching towards your chest. For you are the miracle that could save us. Reach down. If you want to find God, stop looking up, look around. Find him in the shelters, in the makeshift homes, in the faces of children swallowing the flood they couldn't outrun. Find him in the eyes of the mother, waist high in the sea of floating bodies, praying to find her son. Tell her you found him, standing on the outside looking in, fingers pressed to glass. Tell her how you opened the door, dried his clothes, cried his name in prayer so heaven may let him through, and there I will be, waiting until the moment your own flood comes calling. I will see you, washed up on heaven's front steps. God standing at the gates asking if anyone can vouch for who you are, and I will step forward, my arms wide open, my skin still drenched, and I will tell him, you are the reason I am here. Okay. This is a quick disclaimer, okay? If you hear me fumble, it's not because I don't know my poems. It's because my tongue keeps getting stuck to the top of my mouth and like it's messing up that flow.
You want some water?
Yeah, like it's only one last poem. I can get through it. It's one last poem. And Fellas, you know what I mean? Like, like when your balls get stuck to your thigh, and you do everything you can to try to free it up, but you can't. You have to be discreet, like doing something like calisthenics or something. You know what I mean?
That was an amazing segue, actually.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. The ball stuck to your thigh. I'm twittering you.
Yeah, I'm infectious like that. So this is my last poem. Y'all want to hear more? Yeah! $10 CD. Son, I go all night. Son. January of 2006. I fought cancer, and so this year actually marked my 5th year, being cancer free. So it's been an amazing experience. So. As people, right, we look at ourselves in the mirror every day. Every day we get ready, we look at ourselves, and we say to ourselves, like, man, I wish I was this, I wish I was that, I wish I had this. We all know all of our flaws, right? Somebody in Slam Charlotte said once, nothing anyone can say or do to me is worse than what I've said and done to myself, right? And it's so true, because look at me, I've been skinny my whole life. Could never get girls, right? Every time I try to get girls, I was the only Asian guy in my class. They look at me and they're like, well, maybe you can do our math homework or something, right? Like, that was the extent of what, and every time I try to pick up girls, try to do poetry, somebody with bigger muscles will come and, spit some line and, get her, right? And I can't, right? So I always grew up, with this thing. And then I go through testicular cancer, right? So now I'm looking at God, all right. So you've been made me skinny my whole life. Now you're going to take away a nut. Like, what did I do to you that's making you hate me so much, right? You know what I mean? Why do you think I'm leaning like this? So, at least one side of my leg nothing sticks to it. You feel me? Yeah. I just came up with that right then. So, but I realized this, right, that the moment you embrace the ugliness inside you, right, the moment you accept who you are, all the mistakes, all your flaws, the moment you realize that all that stuff is actually really beautiful, right, the moment you accept you for you, then the moment you find freedom, right, because freedom will only discover you the moment you stop giving a fuck what everybody else thinks you do, right? So I hope let's have fun with this poem. This is my last poem. Again, I have a website, theasiaproject.com. The CD and stuff is all on iTunes and all that good stuff, so just come check it out. And here you go. So as if by some divine act of grace, late in the midst of my prayer, God revealed his face with an offer to recreate me according to my own design. So I said, fine. I said, I want biceps and pecs. I want to wear tight shirts that make me look like I'm smuggling ice packs in my chest. No more lanky legs or bony wrists. I want God to make me rip. Gluteus maximus my hips. I want butt cheeks bulging out of my pants. Butt cheeks that can clench the back of my jeans and pull them down without using my hands. I want chiseled calves and thunderous thighs. I want women to upgrade their medical insurance because I can't help but snap their necks every time I walk by. Fuck the poetry hustle. I'd rather have muscle, a baritone voice and facial stubble, and I want a bigger penis. And not just a bigger than average penis, like the one I have now. Nah. I want one the size of a forearm with a clenched fist. The kind I have to wrap around my waist every time I piss. I'll make my living as a stripper. Stage name Mr. Bangkok. Master in the art of soy sauce body shots, and I'll get laid. Not to mention get paid. Because my stack of unpaid bills got me lighting candles at night. Yo, yesterday, for real, the electric company came to my house, shut my drapes, and told me I can't even have daylight. So if God wants to offer me change, then I want to be butt naked on MTV Cribs in a diamond-studded tub taking a bubble bath in champagne. God obviously did not share my enthusiasm. So I said, in that case, make me immune. Invincible from a cancer that came too soon. If not that, make me fearless. Unafraid of the monthly blood test that could take me back to where I started. If not that, make me heartless. Because compassion has only led me to the pain of remembrance for those I've ever loved and lost. We are the bearers of the cross, forced to come face to face with our faults. Weary from the weight, we strap to our backs. We search for a quick fix to relieve ourselves from the ugliness that consumes us. We feel abandoned. We feel forgotten. As if we're swimming against the current of those who seem to have it all figured figured out, but still with hopeful voice we shout, praying to be redeemed if only for a while. They say when life gives us 100 reasons to frown, we give life 1,000 reasons to smile, and I swear I'm counting my blessings. But how do you count your blessings when fingers always seem to fall short of expectations? We are the seekers of salvation. We are the calloused knuckles pounding on heaven's door, like a tree growing on the forest floor, stretching its limbs upwards just for a piece of the sun. We are the bent knees on bedroom floors, stretching our arms to the ceiling, hoping our prayers are heard amongst the prayers of millions. And then God spoke. Said I was missing the purpose, because somewhere between the thresholds of our homes and the thresholds of churches, there will be days when prayers seem to hang lifeless at the edge of our tongues. There will be days when the ugliness reveals itself as a shadow dancing on the blades of our shoulders, but beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and the only beholder is Him. This ain't about picking at the scabs of your sins. This ain't about God finding you amongst a sea of faces. This is about you finding God in the most chaotic of places. This is about dancing in sprinklers. This is about the taste of a candy bar your mother said would ruin your meal. This is about finding ways to heal. This is about having lemons and making some motherfucking cough drops. This is about sipping wine on a mountaintop while guzzling 40s on the sidewalk curb. This is about performing in front of 3,000 or just 3 and still having the same conviction in your words. This is about junior high bike rides to your girlfriend's house. This is about turning 65 and still making out with your spouse. This is about writing poems about someone's laugh. This is about standing naked before a mirror and flexing the muscles you don't have. This is about fighting the good fight. This is about the irony of cancer turning out to save my life. I put my heart out. I keep my head high, waiting with patience for the day God reveals His face and makes me the same offer once again. And when such time arrives, this time I will look Him square in the eye and tell Him, make me as I already am. Because nothing has ever been more beautiful.
Alright, we are at the Nuyorican with Spencer.
Always smiling. He's always smiling.
Go closer.
Hi.
You guys, so I can get you on video before your show.
Stop, you're bothering me.
This is gonna go on your documentary.
I wish Vicky was here. She could like deflect her.
This is what you did to me. So you're feeling anxious?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Look at those eyes.
Weirdo.